let's talk about the Epstein file, right, and its connection to Israel. I'm talking about this because I made a video last time about the influence of Israel. Now, it's very important to understand how the Epstein or Jeffrey Epstein is involved into this entire Israeli trying to influence the United States project. Jeffrey Epstein was a billionaire. In fact, it was believed that he was a Mossad agent because we don't know how he became a billionaire. So it is, very normal that by him being a Mossad agent that he all of a sudden just become a billionaire. And one of the major reasons why you keep hearing about this Epstein file is exactly the reason why I'm making this video, is because he had to be a Mossad agent. If he wasn't part of the system or he was not very important in the way that Israel and the United States run their affair or dominance, this Epstein guy, they wouldn't even have killed him because they're claiming that he committed suicide. That's not true, right? You know, how can someone just commit suicide in jail, in prison? Is completely absurd, specifically for a man with the type of connection and money that he had. Here is a former CIA agent, right, claiming that Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent. Listen to it.
Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent.
I believe that he was an Israeli access agent. If a foreign intelligence agency wants information from very highly placed sources or from very important sources, they're not going to be able to recruit those sources directly. So you recruit somebody who has access to those sources. And I think that that's most likely what Jeffrey Epstein was.
Jeffrey Epstein was running an underground sex trafficking company. And the reason why it is making a lot of noise because they're saying that it was underage girls involved. But in reality, it was more than that. It was also young boys, young men, kidnappings. It was all sort of things because, you have to understand when you are dealing with billionaires, they can ask you anything. If they ask you anything, you just have to be willing to give it to them. Keep in mind, government official in the West, most importantly, right? Politicians, billionaires, and all, they are all part of secret societies. And the reason why they get them involved in secret societies is so that they can have some type of leverage on them. Because when they give them power, right, and they want to misbehave, they can come back to them and say, look, you are sleeping with underage girls. We can pull the videos out, right? You are sleeping with, little boys. We can, get you out of your position, right? And so Jeffrey Epstein was hired by the Mossad to basically spy on American politicians. And the whole plan was this entire project of Israel taking over the control of the United States. Right? The Mossad, knowing very well that, billionaires and politicians in the United States are extremely corrupt, just so that when Israel will come back and say, look, this is what we want from you, right? Who has this major position or whatever, they will all agree. All right. And so the amazing thing here is that it wasn't just American politicians, right? You've heard about the prince, I believe it's Prince Andrew, I don't know, from the United Kingdom. It was, people all over the world. And the very important thing here that we found out about Epstein file is that he wanted to also get in touch with Vladimir Putin, right? And you probably heard, you've been hearing in the news how the West is blaming everything on Russia, basically, and they are trying to connect Russia with Epstein. Some people are trying to say, well, he was a KGB or FSB agent, you name it, right? So, and the reason for that is because they have nothing on Vladimir Putin, right? And Vladimir Putin actually, a year before, he predicted this same thing, right? Just listen to this video from Vladimir Putin. Listen.
In Western elite circles, there is a strong desire to freeze the current situation, unjust in current international relations. For centuries, They have been accustomed to filling stomachs with human flesh
брюхо человеческой плотью, а карманы деньгами.
and wallets with money.
Но они должны понять.
However, they must understand that the vampire ball is coming to an end.
Vladimir Putin is saying something very interesting here because a lot of time when we hear about the Epstein file, we're hearing about sex and all of that. But Vladimir Putin is saying that those people are eating human flesh. Those billionaires, they're eating human flesh. Now keep in mind, if Vladimir Putin says something like that, he knows exactly what he's talking about because he has one of the most powerful secret service in the planet. The FSB used to be the KGB. So they know exactly what they're talking about, right? And Vladimir Putin is clearly saying, he's saying, look, their days are numbered. The vampire party is almost over. And this is what they were doing, right? They, right, those billionaires, they were eating children from what we are hearing was going on in this thing. You're not going to hear a lot about this part. But from what is being investigated and what people are saying is exactly that. They're sacrificing human beings and eating them, right? You hear about, children disappearing and, Vladimir Putin is talking about how they exploit Africa and all those different places. And the reason why they don't like Vladimir Putin is because he's not part of their circle. Vladimir Putin is extremely religious, very religious man. And that's why, right, they are accusing him of everything. Evil works like that. The devil is always the first to come and blame, accuses other people. He's accusing other people of what he is doing himself. All you've heard, specifically since 2014, with the annexation of Crimea, is Vladimir Putin is evil, Vladimir Putin is this. Every single time something comes out, is blame on Putin. Why? Because they are the one doing all of that. If they're the first to start blaming others, you will not look at them. And that's what is going on. And they hate Vladimir Putin because he's not part of it. They're talking about, we've heard the name of Vladimir Putin in the Epstein file and all, but everything has to do with Jeffrey Epstein was trying to connect to Vladimir Putin. And then what you hear is that he was also in connection with Russian crimes and all of that. All of that is to try to send back to Vladimir Putin because they don't like him. And so what is going on here and why you keep hearing about this is a fight between the Mossad, right, Israel, and the United States. Everything is being done to show to the U.S., right, to U.S. politicians that Israel is in control. The Mossad, is using the Epstein files to run the United States. The CIA, right, or US is, discovering that the Mossad spied on them in a way that they themselves could not have imagined. That's basically what's going on here. And they cannot control what is going on, right? The Mossad spied on them so deeply that these files are being released, without them even knowing who has the access. Basically, they are in damage control. Politicians, you have, ex-president like Bill Clinton and all of that, they're all surprised, thinking that their secrets were very well hidden. But all this time, when the CIA, right, or the United States, thought that Israel, was their ally and that, they could share intelligence and all of that, Israel was spying on them and keeping information that they would use against them. And that's why you shouldn't be surprised today when you see that Israel is running the Donald Trump administration. All of this that is going on with the Epstein file is a message that is being sent to American politicians, the Americans elite, that Israel is in control. And that they have the type of information that once they start releasing it, right, that they will not survive. So they better cooperate or their days are numbered. And the most despicable thing you hear is that those people are eating human beings. And that parts of the files, right, are have not even been released yet. They're keeping it. They're keeping those files, those deep secret, right, just to ensure that those involved will cooperate, right? And so it is a major problem. Now, anybody who will come and try to tell you, oh, this is nothing, or this is, look, man, I'm giving you three reasons why you should understand that this is a major deal and can bring the US down. Number one, the guy already died. Why is it that they're still talking about him until now? Why is it that they're releasing those files? He's a dead man, right? The second thing is that we are talking about the elites, the 1% who are involved. These are not regular people like us. They've always been good at hiding their secret. How come all of their secrets are coming out now? That's a question. And number three is, with the United States government being in control, how come they're not able to hide this specific problem? It's still them who are releasing it, right? What is the problem here? What is happening is a shift in power in the United States. Israel is trying to take over the US. And that's what's going on here. And if those politicians don't give in to what Israel wants, their days are numbered. That is the battle that is taking place inside the US government.